Hello everybody, and welcome to the 90-day project. Today we are on day 41 with 1,288 words. Which, middle of the lane, kind of under. Still pretty good in these final days. I think it'll only be like 2 more weeks, and then we'll be done the second draft of this. Maybe 2.5. We'll see how the longest chapter goes over, because so far every single chapter that I've done is under 1,000 words, and the longest chapter is over 2,000. So we'll see how that goes over. I'm sure it'll take like 4 or 5 days to get it done at the pace that I'm going so far. But I'm excited. Maybe it'll just be that 2,000, because so far it is pretty detailed. But I'm probably going to start it tomorrow, because it is war themed, and here in Canada, tomorrow is Remembrance Day, which is the day that we celebrate the end of the First World War and the signing of the armistice. And we also remember all of the fallen soldiers who fought for the rights and freedoms that we have today. And tomorrow I'll do a special video all about that. Maybe I'll take the day off from writing and just do a video about that, because it's always been something that is important to me, and there's something that happens every year at school around it. Yesterday was a half day for my sisters, because every day at school on the Friday before the Remembrance Day weekend, there is always a service in the morning where you get dressed up in your fancy clothing. There's a couple of songs, there's a presentation, there is carrying of wreaths and flags, and you invite the members of the area's legion, and you all kind of remember the dead and celebrate the end of the war. And I find it very interesting. I've always found war fascinating, but that's kind of a bunch of stuff that I'll get into tomorrow. Today I want to talk about wanting to make a game. I have like 4 ideas, and someday I want to be able to open a small studio and start making games. And specifically, I want to give them a physical copy, because of, online, they are able to take away the games, and like on Steam, if your account gets removed for whatever reason, you no longer have those games, and whatever money you spent on it is void. But then you take a look at all of the old Halo games or the old Call of Duty games, and they still have the campaign or the single player mode that you're able to play on whatever console. And even, I know this is a bad example, but Nintendo games, the old Nintendo games, you can play it over and over again. You have those games for the rest of your life. And the problem with making a physical copy is that most computers don't have a ROM drive or a disk drive anymore. So how do you make physical games when you can't burn it onto a CD like the days of old? Well, that's where USB sticks come in. So I'm gonna try and figure out a way. I've seen some really cool key USBs. So there's probably going to be like a one-time activation code in the box that you get, and you just take the files off of the USB drive and put it onto the computer, and then you have this USB drive for like $30 plus the game. And of course, that means that you really have to make sure that there's absolutely no bugs on launch day, because it is impossible to fix bugs when they're on a physical copy. My dad gave me the example of the original Diablo, or Diablo 2, I don't remember what one he said, but there was like an infinite money glitch that you could have where you buy these like mana potions, and then you can just double how much money you have in your inventory up to as much as you can hold. So to avoid situations like that where you have game destroying bugs in your game, you have to really make sure that you get some good test players and basically try to break the game as much as possible before release. So that's going to be super interesting. I also like the ability to have a trophy. So this is going back into reading and writing. When you have like books on a Kobo or audiobooks that you listen to, you can read hundreds of books, but on your shelf you might only have 10 or 20 or 50 because all the books that you read are on a Kobo or they're on your phone. So I want to have this like physical trophy of having the game, and I think that is pretty cool just in general. We'll see how that actually works out. For the game dev team, so I found these cool key USB drives, and they come in a bunch of different colors. So back in the old days when they were making like Windows, they would have this like gold drive where it was engraved, and that's what they would use to copy over onto discs so that you could continually keep copying it and the data wouldn't like start messing up down the line because it was engraved, and it's very hard to mess with engravings the way that they were doing it. And these like golden keys you could keep copying for as many times as possible. So I kind of want to have that for the dev team where they can just give out the game to all of their friends and family and stuff and have them be like this golden key that they have. And I like the idea of the golden key to the game, but we'll see if that ever happens. From what I've figured out, it's going to be like $500,000 a year to hire all the right people and give them a good enough wage to actually want to work on the games. And we'll see if that can attract people of a good talent to come and work on these games. They're not going to be like super intense, well, depending on which idea we're doing at the time. It might be a little more intense than other times, but I have a love of games, and the way the professional like AAA studios are doing things is just absolutely disgusting, and I want to be able to create games that people absolutely love, you know, like Dying Light or the Spider-Man games or Call of Duty. Those like really amazing games that people absolutely love. I want to create something like that, but have better practices than some of these game studios because how they operate is almost criminal. Which is why I'm super excited for the Nemesis patent to be up in the next 11 years. That'll be just in the ballpark of the game studio starting. So that'll be super fun to work with, assuming that I understand how patents work, and when patents expire, they're able to be used by a wider audience. we'll see. I might be completely reading it wrong and getting my information from the most backwater place possible. But yeah, that's kind of what I have in mind. I've tried coding myself. I cannot. I went through computer science 20 and computer science 30. I'm surprised I got a good enough grade to pass that class and get the credit. It was extremely difficult for me. I do not do coding well. I seem to be a failure in all of the sciences, even though I have a great love and fascination for them. So we'll see how that turns out, and honestly, even if all of the games are just for me to play, I think that is totally worth it. Because, again, along with how I write my books, is I write them because I want to read them. I want to have them on my shelf to go back to and look at. And if other people enjoy it, well, that's great, then they can share in it. And if I can make a living off of it, that's even better. But I basically create things because I want to create them, and if other people find enjoyment, then that's wonderful. So we'll see how that goes over with gaming and a couple million investment into that. But we'll have to see what that looks like. And that's kind of all that I want to talk about today. Again, tomorrow will be a lot more serious topic and video, so stay tuned for that. I'll catch you all on the flip side.